Hi everyone, welcome to He Said, She Said. I'm Renee. Today we're going to be doing a little bit of time travel. We're going to go back to earlier this year when I created a pretty elaborate plan for my little raised beds. And then I'll show you kind of what went well, what didn't go well, and share with you my plan for next year, which I'm calling my Test Garden 2.0. All right, so we are going to be doing a little bit of time travel. As I said, we're going to go back to earlier this year. I came up with a really good plan. I was really proud of myself. I did quite a bit of research to see what would grow, when I should plant it. I was really trying to grow things from seed. I did have a garden, my two raised beds last year, and realized I had a hard time growing things from seed, and did buy starts, which is fine. And I kind of thought, well, maybe I could try from seed this year and maybe I'll have some luck and I won't have to purchase starts. So here's my plan. I thought it was pretty neat. I mean, I knew exactly what I was going to be planting. I knew when things were going to be germinating, what I needed to plant indoors, what I need to start indoors, what could be planted directly outside, when I need to plant it, when it would germinate, and also when I could expect to harvest it. So, boy, I was really proud of this plan, right? And so I bought some, decent potting soil from Home Depot, some compost, and I started some seeds inside. I had a little table by one of the windows so I could start some of the seeds indoors. So I did that, and then some good weather came. And I thought, I think I want to move these outside. And I saw at a local store this cute, I think it's a 5-tiered greenhouse. And so I thought, okay, I think I'm gonna move these outside, give them a chance to get some real sun, and maybe that's gonna do it, because they really weren't doing much inside. So moved them outside. Ironically, on April Fool's Day, set up the little greenhouse. I planted some squash seeds, and then I had a grow cover. So I put that in, and it looked great, and I was really excited, thinking, okay, this is going to be the year. It's going to really happen. Well, 2 weeks later, this happened. Snow in April. It doesn't happen here. It was bonkers. So yes, my greenhouse was completely knocked over. Everything inside of it just got smashed and mixed together. I do not have photos because I was too busy trying to clean that up and chase my grow cover, which was tumbling through the yard. So rescued that, picked up the greenhouse, put it in the barn, and just realized, well, I guess I'm just going to have to get some starts. So I did get some starts, put those in, and they were doing pretty well. Not great, but pretty well. And so I'm going to stop for 1 minute, and I'm going to play a video from July, and I'll show you what happened next in my garden. All right, so here we are in front of my test garden. There are some raised beds in the back of our house, which has allowed me an opportunity to see what grows at this elevation, what's deer resistant, what needs to be started, and when. So it's been great. Last year I had some really great success growing kale, some green onions, cilantro did really, really well. So I want to try some new things this year. But there were some challenges this year. We had a very cold, wet spring. I had snow in April. There's just been a lot of challenges. So behind me, it is midsummer, and really there's not much happening. So it's really struggling. But I was looking forward to coming out today and having a handful of strawberries. I put some strawberries in some stackable planters behind me, and they were starting to ripen. So I thought, let me come out and get a handful of those during my lunch break. Well, someone else beat me to it, so let me show you what happened in my little garden. All right, let me show you some of the damage done by some of the deer. So you can see their pathway. So they came in, stepped here,
tasted this pepper. These are green and orange and yellow peppers in the middle. Tasted it, didn't like it, and punished it by stepping on it and knocking over the sign. Right, you can see here, look at this. They pulled up some little carrots, didn't like them, and just spit them out. So we've got some discarded carrots here. They came along and ate some of my kale. They didn't bother with the weeds. That would have been nice. Ate some kale. And then over here, we've got strawberries. And they ate, I was looking forward to coming out and eating some ripe strawberries. They were so close. And they ate all of them. And there were a couple that were really ripe. They just chomped them all. And in some cases, they pulled the whole plant out. There's just dirt left there. So anyway, so they ate all of those, tromped through what I had here as if my garden wasn't already struggling. I pulled them out already. I had some broccoli here that had bolted that I was going to harvest the leaves and do some kind of veggie powder. Well, they pulled them all out of the ground. Like they tasted them, but then they just yanked them out of the ground. So they were all laying on the ground here, which was very disrespectful. So this bed is basically empty. I've got some zucchini coming in here that I had from seed. We've got some acorn squash and butternut squash here. Those are spaghetti squash there that I started from a seed from a butternut squash that I had. But overall, my test beds are kind of failing a little bit. So, but that's what happens. You know, this is not a protected area. It's against the house. The deer are pretty bold, but without having any kind of fencing, they're going to come up to the house, right? So, and I don't want to spray this with deer repellent like I do. I have roses over here, and I do put deer repellent on those, and so that helps with that, but I don't want to put that on my vegetables. So this was year 2 of the test garden, and my ultimate plan is to put my full garden right here. So this is a shipping container. We're going to turn that into a potting shed, and then we're going to build a large garden in this area. This is southern facing, lots of great sun, but we're going to put in, you know, a protected, high fence, probably 8-foot fencing garden right here. So that's what my future self wants to do. So going from the raised beds though to this is quite a leap. First of all, I want this to be a significant amount of space because we have a lot of space. But do I have the time, first of all, to build a garden, maintain a garden, and then manage all of the produce that comes out of that garden right now or next year? Probably not. So let me share with you my interim solution. All right, so here we are in what I'm calling Test Garden 2.0. Right, initially this was just going to be my blueberry patch. And so over the summer, I've added some pots here and there. There's some herbs, my strawberries are here, just because I can fill in this space. So my blueberries, I mean, they're small. They were just little guys when I planted them, but they've had a whole summer. But they have also experienced deer pressure. So just as the deer have come through into my Test Garden 1.0 and sampled things, they have also sampled my blueberries. I wasn't expecting really any kind of blueberry harvest because I knew it's going to take years for it to happen, right? But come on, guys, like, let them grow, right? They just were, like, especially that first one. Boy, they really just abused it. So my intention was to fence this area off. And in that thought process led me to think, well, if I'm fencing this area off, what could I do to take advantage of that fencing? You know, so I put some containers here just because I had them. But what if I did some container gardens here? So some green stalk planters. I have some, I wanted to get some grow bags, some temporary containers here that as these blueberries grow, they're going to need more space. This will be my permanent blueberry patch. However, it's going to be a while before these guys are producing and have the wingspan of about 6 feet across. right? So I want to be able to do something that's going to help us over the next couple of years, be able to grow some things in this space without competing or, I guess, causing pressure on the blueberries, because this is their permanent home. Anyway, so the plan is that we're going to kill back all of this. I don't want to say grass. It's not grass. This is weeds. This is an old hay field, so a lot of this is just native vegetation, I suppose. So what we're going to do is we have a bunch of old plywood from the house build that's not good for anything. I know some of you might gasp when you think of us putting plywood with the cost of sheet goods. This is old, it's not good for anything. What we're going to do is we're going to, first of all, move all of these. We've got some extra lumber, some pressure treated lumber that was given to us by a neighbor. We're going to move that, and we're going to lay down the sheet goods here to kill back all of this grass. So that way in the spring, we'll remove it. It'll be really easy to remove the vegetation, but keep the topsoil. Like, I don't want to lose any of the soil. And then we'll put the weed fabric down and do more cedar. I really like the cedar, the effect of the cedar. That's our intention, but today is going to be all about clearing this area out, laying down the plywood, maybe even some cardboard, and taking care of that. And then in the spring, we'll come back. You can come back with us, and we'll actually put the fencing in and make this a beautiful space. Right now, you have to be a visionary because it's kind of messy. But in the end, this will be, I'm hoping it'll be a refined, peaceful space. Okay, so first of all, I'm really glad that we took the time to do this because it looks so nice and neat and clean. You know, just those areas sometimes that get a little bit neglected. So this feels good, even if we weren't doing anything else, just to clear out all the weeds and things like that. So we are planning, as I said before, we are planning to do the OSB, the plywood sheets here, and then potentially using cardboard or contractor trash bags. We're trying to figure out how to take care of this space and that space. And so we've decided that we're going to put we have, I think, 4 sheets of OSB plywood, which are 4x8. Those will work really, really well on that side because we really do want it to be about 4 feet or so that way. So that'll be perfect for that side. And then this side, we began to think, all right, so cardboard, yes, cardboard breaks down. And eventually we want to be able to put some weed barrier fabric
down here because we're not going to grow anything here. This is going to be, there's a gate here and a gate here. There's not going to be anything really growing right here. So we started to think about, well, what do we have on hand? Sure, we could lay down some contractor trash bags, which would be a little bit more permanent. But then we remembered, David remembered, I didn't remember, David remembered that we have vinyl. This is I don't know what it's called, like it's vinyl billboard fabric, right? And so we bought this for another project that it didn't really work. So this has been in the barn, just sitting there waiting for something. So today is the day it's going to come out, and we're going to be laying this. Well, how big is this?
We had to rip it down to like 6 foot wide for what we thought we were going to use it for. So it's 6 foot wide strips that are probably, I don't know, I think it's probably 50 feet long. So if you're interested, I think it's billboardvinyls.com is one of the sources where you can get billboards that have been ripped down.
Yeah.
It is waterproof, and they purport people like using it to make ponds or swimming pools or RV covers, or repurposing it to do any kind of thing that you want to like protect somehow. There's a bunch of different uses for it, but just as billboards come in different sizes, obviously what you can order this in comes in different sizes. But
right.
Yeah, so we're gonna repurpose it for this today.
I've even seen it turn into purses and handbags.
Yeah.
So there's something left over. Maybe we'll see.
Yeah, if you're really into upcycling, repurposing.
Which we are, but we'll see. But anyway, I think what'll be great is that because it's non-porous, I think it'll be a great permanent weed protector,
barrier,
weed barrier. And so when we lay this down, our plan is put this down, and then we have a bunch of pallets. So we'll probably put pallets down just to hold it in place. And then in the spring, we won't necessarily need to pull it up and lift up all of this natural.
The indigenous grass.
Yes.
Yeah.
We won't need to pull that up because this will be just there, and then we'll just get a load of cedar and let's put it right here. So I think it'll be easy. Let me know if you've tried this. I know I did a little bit of research to make sure like this is not toxic or something like that. We aren't growing anything right here, but I think it's going to be a really good alternative to, I don't know, like having to go to Home Depot and buying rolls of, the weed fabric. We have this on hand. I think it's going to be a really good option. So next up, we're going to put the OSB there, see how far we get, and then we're going to start laying this down. I forget what this says, what we're advertising. Maybe we want to turn it upside down. I think it's some kind of a tiki bar or something like that. Anyway. Really grateful that David remembered that we had this vinyl billboard, because boy, was that much faster than pulling out pallets and using, contractor trash bags. I mean, this went much easier than I thought. I'm just so grateful. And we used up something that was just sitting there in the barn clogging up space. You know us, we like to repurpose things, so this totally fit in with that. Well, anyway, so that went quicker than we thought, which is fantastic. So really the next steps are over the winter we're going to be procuring some gates and posts so that in the spring we'll be ready to go when it comes time to install this. Of course, we're going to bring you along with us when we do that, and then we could lift up the boards and see how well we did. We'll probably look for some other kind of materials here, because once we lift those up, we're going to need some type of weed fabric. I don't know if we'll get more of this, or we might just use some traditional weed fabric, but in any event, we'll lift this up in the spring. We'll reveal how well it went. I'm really grateful that you came along with us. It has been a beautiful sunny day in October, unseasonably warm, and boy, the heat coming off of this is quite something, and windy. So if you haven't already, please consider subscribing, hit that like button, and also that notification bell so that you know when we post another episode. So until next time, take care everyone.